This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The White House is leveraging rosy projections and a bit of budget maneuvering to make the math work on President Biden's $4 trillion plus economic agenda, which is getting bogged down on Capitol Hill. David Shafinsky reports the White House has pointed to projections from Moody's Analytics, a major economic analysis firm, that say the president's broader economic agenda would boost labor force participation by nearly 1 percentage point over the next decade. Other analyses, including from industry groups such as the National Association of Manufacturers, have taken a much more pessimistic view of how the proposed tax increases would affect the economy. The White House says the president's $2.3 trillion infrastructure package and $1.8 trillion families plan would lead to economic growth and cut the federal debt in the long run when paired with proposed tax increases on corporations, wealthier Americans, and investors. The administration projects that the bulk of the spending would be doled out over 8 years, while the overall plans would take about 15 years before they balance and start cutting down on the debt. Property owners across the country, from local landlords to large holding companies, are asking the nation's courts why they're expected to take a financial hit while non-paying tenants are protected by ongoing eviction moratoriums. Legal affairs reporter Alex Schwaryer reports Americans who own rental properties say they're dealing with the same COVID-19 fueled pressures as their tenants, with bills piling up and cash running low. Many are now facing bankruptcy and foreclosures because tenants have stopped paying because the federal government's protection from eviction is still going on. The eviction moratorium bans landlords from evicting tenants while the order is enforced, so landlords are unable to remove a renter who can't pay rent. Lawyers for landlords say the latest extension will lapse at the end of June, but they fear that the government will renew it again. A recent report by House Intelligence Committee Republicans found intelligence community failures related to the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically the suppression of dissenting views on the origins of the coronavirus. Bill Gertz reports the minority's report says the intelligence community failed to properly support policymakers with timely products and analysis, and that those failures continued in the pandemic's aftermath. The 20-page report, which was recently made public, is based on classified information obtained by the committee as part of its role in overseeing the 17 spy agencies of the federal government. The report concluded that significant circumstantial evidence shows the virus most likely escaped from a laboratory in Wuhan, China that's been engaged in research on viruses similar to COVID-19. The Wall Street Journal reported over the weekend that 3 workers from the lab required hospitalization in the fall of 2019 with coronavirus-like symptoms, and that Chinese officials had not disclosed the details of the sicknesses. A reminder that you can find all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. Don't have access yet? Visit WashingtonTimes.com/George and get 25% off your annual subscription. In foreign affairs, the White House is downplaying the Abraham Accords agreements between Israel and Arab states signed last year as they seek a way forward to lower the temperature in the Middle East. Rowan Scarborough reports White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said at a recent briefing that the administration believes the accords didn't do anything constructive to bring an end to the conflicts in the Middle East. The normalization pacts were at the heart of the Trump administration's Middle East strategy to ease Israel's economic and diplomatic isolation and build up a regional coalition of allies. The recent 11-day war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas in the Gaza Strip has put the region on edge once again, with rockets and airstrikes being traded between the two sides. And finally, parents in Loudoun County, Virginia are upset over the county school district's decision to start using an anonymous bias reporting form. Emily Zanto reports the parents say the form asks students to anonymously report each other in an effort to root out racism. A spokesperson for the school district told Emily the form is part of the district's detailed action plan to combat systemic racism. The spokesperson said the decision to create the form stems from a 2019 assessment that revealed some students who felt marginalized or had experienced bias. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and subscribe for free to the front page. Just search Washington Times on your favorite podcast platforms. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.